So we are on the Align podcast today. We are here with Doug. And Doug, could you please, we'd like to start about really hearing about you and the company you work for and what your roles are in that company and kind of some background on how long you've been in the industry.
Yeah, so Doug, Creative Roofing is the company that I am
Right.
now owner of.
Right.
Uh, Family-owned business, and I've been in the industry kind of my whole life, being that it's a family-owned business. You know, my
Yeah.
first real trip was we have some friends in Hawaii that live there that do construction and roofing.
Hmm.
Being that we were in Sacramento, it was rainy in the winter, so we would go over there quite often. So
Yeah.
first trip over there was 14 years old on a three-story hotel, lugging tile around. That was short-lived because the tenants didn't feel comfortable with the 14-year-old up there.
Yeah, there's some, yeah, some,
But no, it's
well,
just, yeah.
I started
So
when I was 17 and I was up on a roof for a couple years myself. And being a female down in Houston with all the crews was a little bit of an adjustment.
right. Yeah.
Yeah.
No, it was good though. It's always been in my blood, in my family. We've
Yeah.
all in the trades. Slowly, my brothers kind of went into the floors, but we were all there was, I'm the youngest of seven, six
Yeah.
boys. We're all
Y'all do a lot of residential or do you do commercial too? Like, what are y'all kind of focused on?
We do both, but it's a majority of it is residential.
Okay.
We have the occasional large commercial job, but my dad always ran it as a small, spit in a handshake kind of a dude, where
Yeah. Well, that's the
just
way it was, 40 years ago. That's how things were.
yeah, yeah,
Yeah.
and it just you knew you did the job you were on, and then you
Right.
found the next one, and
Right.
he never advertised, he never did anything because he knew the general contractors in the area. He knew the air. He started the company in 1983, and so by the time I came around and was involved with it, he had well established and
Right.
didn't advertise, didn't anything.
Yeah, well, it helps. That's the way the company I worked for, Intex, was as well. They knew all the GCs, so it was just a matter of pricing out the jobs right and pretty much falling in line.
Yep.
Um, so what are your, well, for starters, what is your main competitor out there? Like who do y'all usually compete with the most on your jobs, and where do you focus, residential or the commercial side?
We focus on the so backing up just a little bit, when we came
Mhm.
down, we started in Sacramento. My dad was the owner then. He grew up in the Central California coast. He always wanted to come back. When he came back, I was the one that started doing the online advertising, started getting people. He
Right,
just didn't have his name established down here like he did up north. So 40 years of experience didn't mean anything when nobody knew your name.
right,
Uh, so I kind of jumped on it, started going out there, started advertising for him. And that's kind of when I jumped into the ownership role, when I realized, well, I'm doing all the stuff on the back end anyways, when I just
right.
step into it. So what I'm getting at is that initially we kind of just took what we could get. You know,
Mm,
you residential, you
yeah,
pick up, and next thing you know, it just started to roll.
right,
So when it comes to competitors down here, yes, there's obviously different levels of sizes.
hmm,
Have Wix Roofing, which is, the biggest one in the area.
right,
They're a big company. They're in five different locations. They're huge. So we never really put ourselves on that level for a while.
yeah.
We're still considered a smaller company. So, uh, but we're getting closer. Um,
What
you
is
know,
y'all's do y'all want to grow? Is that what you're trying to do?
yes,
That's
me
good.
being the next generation, that was
Want to
my
expand?
yeah, that
Yeah.
was my goal. That was my vision. My
Right.
dad being old school and the way he was more of a, no, it's fine. We got our crew. We're doing fantastic. Let's
Right.
we do. But, I think that's what makes us unique and what makes us able to grow is that we have two different sides of the spectrum here.
Right.
You have the old school,
Hmm.
let's do it. Let's be there in person. Let's do this. And then you have me who's coming up in the world, trying to make a name, trying to make it
Right.
trying to do things a little
Yeah,
different.
trying to make a presence and set a new system in place, maybe. Yeah,
Yeah.
that, that's really where the industry is going. I deal with a lot of roofers and whatnot. A lot of them are just old school. Some of them, like I told you before. I think they don't even. They're just stuck in a file cabinet still. Like some
Yeah.
of them aren't even in computers. So
Hold that.
yeah, yeah, and I help a lot of them out and get them kind of up to date. But here, just in the last couple of years, it's really exploded. But who do y'all usually use as like your manufacturer? Is it ABC or do you have some?
Yeah, ABC. Here we're kind of a smaller. We're not a huge city, so there's a
Mhm.
lot of little tiny cities kind of spread out. But the main one that we use will be ABC. Yeah.
Okay, and yeah, ABC is great. Their reps are wonderful. They cater to you, which makes it really really nice. Um, with the way the market's moving and where do you think the where are you seeing the most business at right now? Is it the commercial side, the residential side? Is it kind of split, or do you see something else happening inside the industry?
I saw, I'm seeing a lot of residential.
Hmm.
I am seeing a lot of interest in the residential side,
Yeah.
definitely. But what I'm seeing personally is the commercial side is very much repair. I mean, they're big buildings. It's a big expense,
Right. Yeah.
Roofing is a very large number.
Yeah.
So a lot of repairs, a lot of, can
You do a
we
lot of re-roofs.
we do.
Okay.
Yeah, a
Well, that's
lot.
if I had to guess, your margins are probably pretty good out there for re-roofs, huh?
Decent, yeah. What we're finding though now is people are a little hesitant to go with the full roof. They're not because they know they need a new roof,
Mm-hmm.
but it's economy, it's the uncertainty of
It's
what's
a chunk of
happening.
change.
It is, and it's them trying to hold on to what their little nest egg, they want to keep it. And I get that 100%, 100%.
Do the insurance companies out there usually cover the roofs, or is it usually done by the property managers and whatnot?
What I'm seeing with the insurance is a lot of people are actually struggling with insurances in
Yeah.
California specifically. When we hit the
Yeah.
fires last year, a lot of insurance companies are trying to get out of California. They're trying to
Mm,
they're trying to find a lot of, you know, they're doing their due diligence, let's just put it that way, to find reasons why, it's time for you either to get a new roof or it's time for us to part
right.
ways. So we're getting a lot of insurance calls. We're getting a lot of people saying, "Hey, my insurance called and they don't like what they see on satellite. They don't like what they see.
Hmm.
Come take a look."
Well, that ought to help you guys.
It does. It does to a degree for sure. It's hard, personally for me with that one, just because you go to a roof and without trying to stir the pot too much, for example, a flat roof, right?
Right.
But you get a drone going overhead and you see patches of dried dirt. And you're like, well, yeah, of course it's ponding a little bit. It's a flat.
Hmm.
That's what happens. Flat roofs pond. That's what happens. And they'll say, hey, sorry, flat roof, ponding water, get rid of it. But you look
Right.
at it as a roofer and you're like, there's really nothing wrong with this roof. So it's kind of
Yeah.
it's hard
Well,
for me
hard for you to charge somebody for something that doesn't need to be fixed.
sometimes. Yeah,
Well,
yeah.
you're one of the better guys out there, then, is what I gotta say. Because a lot of people don't, especially if the insurance companies are going to pay for it. But I mean, you're just adding to the problem, right? Unfortunately, if you do it that
Yeah.
way.
It's tough. It's like I said, it's a fine line. It's hard because at the same time, my loyalties run to my guys, right? I want my
Right.
guys. I want my company to to grow. I want all that as well, but at the same time, I want it to grow the right way. I want it to
Right.
grow the right reputation, but I want to take care of ultimately my guys are part of my family.
Well,
So.
yeah, I mean, you're putting food on their plate, so that's important to keep going. What do you see in your industry and in jobs? Just like what are y'all's major pain points? What do you find the most difficult? Your biggest problems?
Honestly, we are not we're not the cheapest in the area. Okay, we're not going cheap. We're not here to race to the bottom
Yeah.
of the pile. That's not our goal. That's not our motto. That's not what we are. We want to be referral worthy. We want to be ultimately we're in customer service.
Right.
So I'm here to give, yes, our customer service is a roof, but ultimately we're here for you. So I want to give the best possible product. I want to do what's right because of what's right.
Right.
So where I struggle sometimes is when you get into these times of year or whatever the reason is, economy, whatever you want to call it,
Right.
people start tightening up. And so that's kind of what's happening right now. And so as much as you want to say, okay, let's start cutting costs so we
Mm-hmm.
can be competitive.
Right.
There's a level to where you're like, there's some people that are only going to look at the bottom dollar. Right now,
Right.
every single person, which is a good thing, get multiple bids, get get an idea. But why do
Right.
people do that? Why do you get multiple? You get multiple bids because ultimately you don't know if the first bid you got is real or not.
Right.
You want to create that. You want to. I just had today. I just went on a bid where the lady, I said, I gave her a ballpark number. I said, I got to sit down. I got to think about this. Let me figure out how to do
Right.
this.
Right.
By the end of it, she said, I'm canceling all of my next appointments because I tried.
That's awesome.
And that's what you're battling, right? Like when you talk to somebody to get them to understand who you are as a human, that you're
Mm-hmm.
not some contractor trying to get as much money out of them as possible.
Yeah.
They
Squeezing to death.
Yeah, they don't go out for multiple bids because you want that level of trust. You just want to our company, we want to take care of that customer.
Right. And in the industry, it's guys like you that in your family probably, I'm sure your dad probably has the same values as you. So, you're the guys that stick around. I mean, for somebody who is starting a roofing company, the first 3 years, I think less than 5% of roofing companies actually make it.
Yeah.
Yeah. So that there's something to be said for that. And that takes character and it takes, integrity and things that, connecting with people, especially in the residential side and re-roofs and repairs and whatnot, is you got to build that trust and that partnership with people
And
because
it's hard. It's
yeah,
hard because you have a lot of outgoing bills, right? Roofing is
mhm.
expensive on both sides.
The overhead's outrageous, right?
It's unbelievable. And so people
Yes.
don't understand that. And so, yeah, at the same time, especially when you're starting out, you may not have the I had the luxury of my dad with all the experience that he has. He's 70 years old. He's still roofing,
Yeah.
still out there. Not because he has to, because he loves it.
Yeah.
Um,
Because what else is he going to do at this point, right? This is
So I've had the luxury of being the next generation to be able to focus on the customer service, focus on that aspect of it to grow it the right way.
right.
Whereas most people, they're doing everything. And it's expensive and it's hard and
It
it's
is.
very easy to cut corners to say, well, I'm just doing it this one time to
Yeah, and then it just becomes a domino effect. And it's just a kind of wash and repeat, and it just doesn't work if you're doing it wrong. It doesn't work out. What kind of how are you estimating your jobs? Do you use a platform, or how do y'all usually
I
do yours?
do. So we've initially the big problem was my dad has had so much experience that he would just have a price per square in his head that he could
Right,
just write it down and hand it to
right,
him. Well, when we're expanding, when we're growing, we got to have something that's trainable, right? You got to have something that's
yeah,
repeatable, something that you can hand out. So that was a big problem for us initially. But yeah, we use Jobber as our main CRM
right.
platform. We've tried different ones, but um, interesting. Like that's a whole conversation in itself, trying to figure out
Do
the
you
right.
like your CRM?
I do. We've
You
tried
said it was what? I'm sorry.
we've tried a few different. Jobber is the one that we
Jobber.
use. We've been with AccuLinks.
No,
Tried-
AccuLink has a whole
It
issue.
has a whole, yeah, it has a
Yeah.
whole thing. You know, I think I'm in an interesting situation being my age. First of all, I'm 40 years old, so I'm
Mhm.
one of the last generations I feel to know what it's like without the technology.
Yeah.
But at the same time be the one of the first to have to learn it. So I'm
Right.
in this weird zone. And at the same time, I have a father who is definitely before the technology. And
Right.
I'm not going to say he's against it because he's all about progress. He was always the first one to try new products, new things. But
That's
at the
good.
same time, there's a balancing act. Um,
There is. It is. It's a hard one to walk, but I see it more and more in the industry in general.
yeah,
You know, it's tough. But I'm in my 40s as well, so you know, I was one of the first people to take computer class in high school. You know,
yeah,
and
typing is a thing.
everybody laughed at you for taking it. And I was like, well, why not? It turns out it was like the one of the best things I ever did because I learned to type really fast in that class, and that you know ended up being useful later, right?
Yeah.
So, but yeah, it's part the innovation that's happening right now is unbelievable, and it's going to keep going. Where do you think you know going down that, and it could be a huge rabbit hole, but where do you think and how much has technology on y'all side affected the last 5 years for you guys?
I think it's been a huge factor. I think now, one man's opinion. Uh,
Mm-hmm.
when you're in order to get in the door into talking to all these people, we talk about being personable with our customers. You want to
Right.
know who you are. So inevitably you're on social media. You're on this
Mhm.
trying to show people a little bit behind the curtain of who I am as a person. Yeah, I have a daughter. I have this. I have this. I'm a
Right. Right.
so you have this rabbit hole of going in social media. Social media then has an algorithm to show you all these different
Mhm.
products that will work for you.
Right.
And then you have 15 different CRM programs as a business owner that you got to figure out which one works the best. And every construction, we're also general contractors, but that's not what we focus on. We
Right.
have that license, but we're roofers. So, they all work differently.
Right.
You as an owner have to figure out which one is going to work for what I'm doing. And it can be, information overload.
Exhausting. Yeah.
Yeah. And so and expensive. You're trying to figure out, you try something for 6 months and you're like, ugh, that's not what I thought. And
Then you
then
got to transfer everything back out to another CRM. It's a
everything, and it just
nightmare.
starts
Yeah.
over. It's a nightmare. And so it gets to a point where you go, okay, I'm going to try this and I'm just going to stick with it. My point is that it's going to be the same on the opposite end, right? Your customers are going to see the other side of this, where I've got customers that are calling back 2 years later,
Yeah.
going, "Hey, do you remember me?" And I was like, "I've lost all of your information because we went to a new CRM program." There's there's definitely some struggles there, right?
Yeah. I mean, with the way AI is you know penetrating the market right now, a lot of that is has been loss of information transferring to better CRMs has been eliminated, and the automation and marketing and everything is incredible now. I really love it. But what are y'all? You had mentioned on our pre-podcast call about y'all are trying to ramp up your marketing and whatnot. What exactly are you doing right now?
We're actually, I don't want to use the word regressing because I think that once again, we're in kind of this weird zone where I have the advantage of both sides of this
Right.
spectrum. We're actually trying to go back more. There is definitely a place for AI. Let's start with that. There's definitely a place for AI.
Mm.
There's definitely a place for automation, 100%.
Oh yeah.
But at the end of the day, they want to talk to a human. They want to talk to a person. They want to see you.
Right.
And in my experience, what's been happening. So, for instance, we had an AI for what if we don't answer the phone?
Hmm.
Answer the phone, and we're busy. Something happens. It goes to AI, and AI takes over and says, "Hey, let me just book a call for you. Let me just book an estimate for you."
Hmm.
There was people hanging up, not feeling comfortable giving their email address.
Huh. Yeah,
So
I think that's reducing a little bit, but yeah, I see what you're saying. When
yeah,
did
it
yeah.
it was it was counterintuitive for me too because I was just thinking like, well, why wouldn't it's like an people felt more comfortable giving a voicemail saying, "Hey, my email address is this. Please call me back in the next few minutes." But it's an age thing, right? Depending on who's calling.
Yeah, I mean, I think that
Right.
But I mean, AI can do so much more on the back end, because it can trigger and dive into your emails and respond for you in a way that you would respond. So it works off of you. So there's so many ways to utilize it. And with,
Absolutely.
I mean, there's spreadsheets, just Office function in general. It's amazing. But what exactly are you doing with your marketing right now? What are y'all's strategies for that? What is y'all's campaigns and things look like?
So what we're doing is obviously we have the normal Google
Right,
runs the world. So we obviously have that system
right,
happening. Um, but what we're trying to do is when we get into a neighborhood, um, we, for instance, if you're doing an inspection, the simple 12 pack, you walk around to the local neighborhood, to the local neighbors that you can see. I mean, we're professionals. We can see
right.
that there's some things that need to happen. We're not going to bug everybody. If you have a brand new roof, we're going to leave you alone. But
Yeah.
typically we go around and we just kind of introduce ourselves. We're not selling anything. We're not here to sell you. We've already sold down the street. They found us. But what
Hmm.
we're doing is we're marketing the neighborhoods that we are being introduced into, and we're just letting them know who we are. Hey, I'm Doug, Creative Roofing. We're working with Sally down the street.
Yeah.
Um, Wanted to just put a face to a name. Feel free to call us. Here you go. And you leave it at that. After they've seen you multiple times, they start to once again they get to know you. Who are
Hmm.
What's happening down the street? Oh, I think I like what they're doing. Hey, we're getting ready to build. Feel free to come talk to us. It's a big production. There's trucks
Right.
everywhere, signs. Feel free. We want this to be enjoyable for you too. So feel free to reach out to us. So we try to build a personal relationship with the neighborhood
Yeah.
beyond just trying to sell you. We're not here to sell you. You know that you need a roof.
Yeah.
Talk to us when you're ready, you know.
Yeah, absolutely. And it's about presence. What is y'all's online presence like? Like what is y'all's, social media presence look like right now?
That's the next big push. We were that's kind of what I'm working towards as an owner. I've now got my team in place. Once again, I said my dad was a small, did everything yourself kind of
Right.
guy. It took a little bit of time for us to get our key players in place, but we got a phenomenal group, phenomenal guys that are allowing me the freedom to do things like this, to reach out on a social media level. Um, Definitely the regular platforms, Instagram, Facebook. But what we're trying to do is just really show you that there's no difference between you and I. We're
Hmm.
humans. We are just out here doing the best we can. We want you to feel comfortable to say, "Hey, I got a problem with something. Let me call Doug. Let me call some big conglomerate." And regardless of how big we get, we want that feeling of it's a
Right.
small
That
town,
personal, yeah,
a personal
connection.
touch. You're gonna talk to somebody.
Yeah. I mean, I do I told you before, we do AI consulting and business consulting, marketing and lead gen and all kinds of stuff. And what we try to focus on is we combine HI with AI, and that's human intelligence with
Yep.
AI, yeah, artificial
You,
intelligence.
you do both.
Yeah.
That's what I think is the key.
And I think it's one of the reasons we're successful is because when I go into businesses, because I do the roofing industry, because I know it so well, I know what people want, I know what the other side wants, and I know what the contractors and guys like you want. And then in real estate, because I've been a part of both those worlds for so long, that's what I do. And I think that if once you establish that connection with people and you partner and you try to help each other and people are honest and open, I think that really helps. And
Mhm.
if you approach customers with that, I think it makes a big difference. You're not just shooting, you know, campaigns and, crazy lead gen type of marketing out there that's just really you're more about the volume than you are about the quality. And I
Right.
think that makes a big difference.
It does. And
Yeah.
I think you nailed it on the head when you say that there should be a symbiotic relationship there, right? There's
Yes.
menial tasks that I mean, come on, we all use AI for emails.
Yeah.
You
Yeah. I
write
mean, it's
down
part
your
of
thoughts.
it.
Yeah. And you
It's
go, look,
it's
I really
designed
want
to make our lives easier at the end of the day. It's
yeah.
supposed to make our day better, shorter, less stressful, the little tiny task. That's what it originally was designed to do, and we just try to utilize it as much as possible that way.
Correct. And there's things like, for instance, the newest function we have on on our email or on our website is the ability for customers to measure their own roof, basically. They
Oh,
use,
nice.
yeah, so they can go onto our website and you can get instant access to a quote. So you can actually type in your name, your address, and just basic
What
information.
software is that?
We use Roofle. So
Proofle?
yeah, yeah. So they've been fantastic.
Mm-hmm.
They're very specific to what they do, and it'll give you a range.
Mm-hmm.
So you type in your address, you type in your basic information, name, email, done. We're not
Nice.
doesn't charge you
Yeah,
anything,
things
free.
software like that is fantastic. I mean,
Yeah,
those little upgrades make things easier, and it also lets customers figure out if they can even afford what they're trying to do before they
correct.
actually talk to you. So that's really super helpful. So things like that are amazing. What would you say as far as you trying to produce leads and to grow your business, to expand and to grow? What are your biggest problems? Like, where do you find the biggest headaches and the biggest thing holding you from expanding?
Um, Obviously, I think it goes back to the same old thing, which is getting the right person in the job,
Hmm.
getting the right people into the position that they want to be in. And the reason I say that is communication, for instance, the
Yeah.
it's huge. Communication is key because not all customers want the same thing.
No.
Us as roofers want to give when it's my company, I want to give the best possible roof ever. I want it to
Right.
be just perfect.
Hmm.
That costs money. That
Yeah.
it's
Yeah.
it's hard. And some people are legitimately like, look, man, I just want to be comfortable. I so finding that conversation early on is key because setting expectations, talking to the person early on and saying, what are we doing here? Because I think one thing that people forget is that when you call and I say roofer, but any contractor, when you call
Hmm.
somebody to your house and you say, I have a problem, I think people forget that they have the solution.
Yeah.
Absolutely do. So
Yeah.
yes, you're interviewing me, but we're also interviewing you.
Yeah.
It's kind of a two-way street here. We got to
Right.
work together. And I think setting that expectation early goes back to what we were saying. When you have a new company, a new person in the field,
Mm.
they're more willing to just, oh yeah, we'll do everything. Oh yeah, 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 yeah. We got you, we got you, we got you.
Yeah.
And then game day shows up and they don't
They
because
don't have you.
set from day one. And I think that there's going to be times when I might lose a job because I'm very honest. I'm upfront.
Well, you've got to be able to wake up and look at yourself every day too, and function and be the person you want to be and be the business owner you want to be, and those things have to, it coexist together. You've got to have some moral fiber in there somewhere, right? So, um, if you had to pick something that in your company for, people who are trying to do this business and are struggling with it or what have you, what is the one thing that you would make better?
Make better. In what way?
What
Like,
is what is the one thing that maybe makes your life just would simplify your day-to-day business on the job, in the office, whatever, whichever one of those that is, or your customer relationship, whatever that is, what would you make better if you could?
that's an interesting one.
Yeah.
Yeah, because I think ultimately, when I personally go into any job, I told you
Hmm.
before I'm a helicopter pilot.
Right.
No matter what I'm doing, I put 100% into it.
Right.
100%. I think something that I struggle with is when you're dealing with the human element,
Hmm.
which is kind of going back to our conversation of, AI will give you the best thing that they think is possible.
Yeah.
I think that humans don't sometimes, and
Yes.
that can be a struggle.
Well,
Uh,
they're human, right? We're
they're
human.
human.
Yeah.
Yeah. So are they going with the path of least resistance, or are they going with, hey, I want to do the best possible job because it makes me feel good? Or am I going with the person who's like, yeah, I'll do it, but you need to pay me way more to do it. Like there's just different levels of that. And I
Yeah.
think that for me as a business owner, when I see a problem that I want tackled, um, I like the peace of mind knowing that when I ask somebody or when I do something,
Hmm.
that whether it works or doesn't, I just want to know that whatever was doing it put 100% in.
Yeah.
Um, and that's on all sides. Your material delivery, your subcontractors, your employees, everything. I just want to know that when I say something, that they're giving it their best.
That's great.
I don't know if
If
that was
if
the
ever
right
if
answer.
everybody did that, the world would be a great place, wouldn't
Yeah, yeah, it would.
it? It's a good code to live by. You can always just keep striving for it, and you'll probably be all right.
Right.
Well, you know, is there anything, that you'd like to add to the podcast for viewers, other contractors, people in the industry struggling? People have questions about, different things as far as where technology and the industry is going, because I do think it is going to impact the industry more over the next couple of years than it probably ever has. Um, it did a lot when we got computers, but I think what's fixing to happen now is going to be even more substantial. What advice, I guess, would you give people out there that are trying to create tech stacks, create things that work, automations, just connecting their lives uh, with the old school roofer trying to come into a modern world with, the push that's, underway right now?
I would say we talked about it before where there's a million things that are going to be shot at you at once.
Hmm.
It's going to be a lot of people that do the same similar stuff that
Right.
is going to be thrown at you daily in every aspect of your job. As
Hmm.
a business owner, you're going to have to wear the hat of everybody. You're
Yeah.
going to get all this information thrown at you at once. And it's not always going to work. I have sleepless nights where I make
Right.
a decision and you're just thinking about it. It's not going to work.
Hmm.
There's some things are going to go wrong and it's going to affect your client. For me, the number one thing that keeps me up is reviews at the end of the day. I want to be referral worthy. At the end of the day, when that client has the opportunity to rank you, that to me is one of the most important things. So my point is whatever's thrown at you, do your
Hmm.
research, make a decision, and realize that it will go wrong at some point. That's okay. Something
It's
happens.
part of it.
Part of it. Learn from it. Don't necessarily feel like that's the opportunity to say, well, then I'm out. I'm going over to here. I'm doing this because it does cost money and time and energy, and it can
Right.
be
Oh
bombarded.
yeah.
Give it an opportunity, figure out what the ultimate problem is, and regardless of what the problem is when it comes in, just be a person and let them know, put yourself in the other person's shoes and say, how would that make me feel if that happened? And try to address the problem on a human level.
Hmm.
Even though we absolutely need technology, we need these things.
Hmm.
Without going off on a tangent, I just had AI and satellite measure a huge complex for me
Oh yeah.
that saved me so much time and
Yeah.
energy, and it helps. It's absolutely there's a space for it and a big spot for it. But when something goes wrong a little bit, that's okay. As an owner, own up to it, say sorry. How do we fix it? And just
Yeah,
do it.
and it's I think it's the roofers in the world that are willing to take the time to say that and do that and step up to the plate and own it and fix it, and those are the ones that are successful and make it in this industry. And I see that over and over again. I see that talking to people. That's just how it is. Those are the usually your most successful ones, the ones that stay in for the long haul.
It's okay to say no, and
Yeah,
it's okay to be paid for your effort.
yeah,
That's okay.
yes, absolutely.
There's nothing wrong with that. Don't feel bad about that one bit.
Well, Doug, we really appreciate you coming on. I love your point of view and I love your consideration for your client and what you're trying to do with your company. We really appreciate that. I know that a lot of these especially these younger guys that are trying to do something in this world, across the country, roofing, that there's a lot of value in what you said. You've got to be able to be accountable for your actions. And, your biggest concern is your reviews, right? You want to be good at what you do and you want to represent it in a healthy, positive way. And, that's something that a lot of people don't do anymore. It's becoming a lost art, it seems. And I think the ones who hold on to that are going to be your most successful. So we really appreciate your time and everything today. Thank you so
Thanks,
much.
thanks for having me. Appreciate it.